Hello everybody and welcome to yet another video. Thank you so much for being here. Today I am very excited because I will be finally reorganizing the bookshelves that are behind me. I did want to do this for a really long time now, a couple of months, but I just postponed doing it for various reasons, mainly because I didn't have like the mental capacity to do it. But I feel like today is finally the day. It is very foggy and just like gloomy outside. I think it's going to rain in the second half of the day. So I do want to do this project today. Hopefully I can finish it, but if not, I can continue it in the upcoming days as well. My main goal for this reorganization of the bookshelves is to have books from the same author close together because for example, like I do have some Holy Blacks here. I also have some Holy Blacks here. I also have some Holy Blacks that you cannot see right now, but they are behind the bookshelves actually. So I do want to do that. I do want to try at least to have books from the same author, just like close together and for them to be easily reachable and stuff like that. I also was thinking about my TBR cart, and even though it did serve me quite well, I did manage to read a lot of the books that I had on my physical TBR. So as a result of that, I currently have like 27 that are still left on there. And what I was thinking to do is to actually incorporate those books in the actual bookshelf, just because I do have already a list of everything that I didn't read yet on my Goodreads and stuff like that, and I would want them to be on my shelves because it is quite exhausting to have them on the TBR cart, and then after I read them I have to reintegrate them on the bookshelves behind me. And I do think it will be easier this way, or at least for this moment in time, but I want to try it out and see how it works, and I can always like go back to the TBR cart if this method doesn't work for me anymore in the future. Speaking of books, I do want to show you what I am currently reading, and I cannot believe this is happening, but I am finally reading The Way of Kings by Sanderson. I am actually very close to finishing it. I have this much left. I think I only have like 100 pages more from this book and then I'm done with it. And I already bought the second book in this series because it is so good. When I picked up this book, I actually didn't really know what it was about, and everyone is telling me how hard it is to describe what's going on in this book, and I would agree with that, but I just didn't expect for these characters to be built in the way that they are. And I just love everything that happened in this book so far. And obviously this is just like the exposition for the Stormlight Archive, but yeah, I'm very excited to eventually continue reading the other books in this series as well. And also, yes, before you ask, my arm is hurting from carrying this book and reading it for the past couple of days, but it was honestly so worth it. I want to finish it potentially today after I finish with my bookshelves, but we're gonna see what we can do today. Also, another book that I started and then I kind of like stopped in the middle of it just because I started The Way of Kings and I couldn't stop from reading that one. But this is Misinterpretation by Ledia xhoga. This was nominated for the Booker Prize 2025, and I already read like 80 pages from this one, but I actually really liked it. So I do want to continue reading this in the upcoming days and maybe finishing it until I start a new book. And with that, let me get comfortable, put some music on, and let's start removing these books from the bookshelves. And by we, I mean me and my two brain cells. Okay, let's start. Okay, so what is happening right now? My desk, as you can see, is full of fantasy books. The problem is that I also have these like fiction, mystery thrillers, like general fiction books here on this like middle shelf. And then also my bed is quite literally full of just like some fantasy series and stuff like that. So yeah, the good news though is that I managed to take everything out of the back of the shelves for the moment. And oops, I forgot a fantasy book on my TBR shelf right here. As you can see, I still have like the general fiction here that is not taken out yet. Right now, I do want to take my vacuum cleaner and just like vacuum these shelves right here, and then I'm gonna see what I'll do about these shelves right here. Okay, so apparently I do have a lot more books than I thought I had, but all of the books are out of the shelves. Also, I don't know why I put my water bottle there, but I vacuumed everything and then I wiped everything down. So these shelves are as good as they can be. Apparently, I missed a spot here, so I'll have to wipe that down later. But oh my god, I am already so incredibly tired. And now it's truly probably the hardest part, and that would be to put these books back on the shelves. And I obviously do want to start with fantasy because I think I mainly have like fantasy books. I obviously have some other genres as well, but they are predominantly fantasy. So, what I thought I would do, we will see if this will work or not. But I think like the first three shelves up until here are going to be fantasy, and then the second to last is going to be kind of like everything else. I'm so scared. I tried to put like one stack of books with like fantasy series, one stack of books with duologies, one stack of books with like standalones and stuff like that. But because I ran out of space on my desk and on my bed, I also put some other random things on top of those stacks. So we'll see how that goes. Wish me luck because I will need a lot of it. I am already out of breath. I did in fact also manage to fill this chair with books. Also, I put some books on this TBR cart that I will have to incorporate in the main bookshelves later. So yeah, this is how my room looks currently. It is a lot. It is a lot. Also, I don't know if I will have like enough space for these plants right here. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, also, yeah, the thing that you don't see on camera, a lot more books. But yeah, let's put you back on this very stable stack of candles. I don't have a tripod that would suit this shot, so I just stacked a lot of candles on top of each other, and I'm doing that instead. Let's get this thing started. Let's get it over with already. Also, I think I do have one more quart of these like fairy lights, Christmas lights, I don't know what they're called. I'm thinking to put one more like at the bottom of the shelf. I'm actually gonna go look for that and I'm gonna be right back. I found the other box of Christmas lights. Shout out Pepco. They do have these really cool lights in all shapes and sizes. And I bought these like a year ago or 2 years ago for Christmas to put them on my shelf, and I overestimated how many I need. This is actually going great. I'm looking for my other Brandon Sanderson books, and I have no idea where they are. So, yeah, this is gonna take me longer than expected, I think. You guys, I think I'm done. I think I'm finished. Well, finish is a very strong word, but I for the moment at least I am done with my reorganization, and I want to show you like everything in detail, but I just want to say this took probably like 4 hours. I was not ready. Also, I did not know that I had so many books, because you will see in a moment when I show you everything more in depth. But by the last two rows, I kind of like gave up and I was like, you know what? It is what it is at this point. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the shelves. Okay, so first three rows, as I said, it is mainly fantasy, and then when you go down, the last two rows are kind of like general fiction, mystery thriller, and some nonfiction books, some classics, and everything like that. So when you go on the fantasy shelves, this is kind of like the Brandon Sanderson shelf. I do have to take The Way of Kings out of here so that I can finish it later today, but for the moment it's going to stay here. So I have the Mistborn Era 1 series, the first two books in the Stormlight archive, and then I do have two standalones from Brandon Sanderson. I have Tress of the Emerald Sea and Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I just love Brandon Sanderson when it comes to characters and magic systems. The writing style is very simple, but so far I did not have one single book from him that I didn't like, at least. So I will be continuing with Brandon Sanderson in the upcoming months, years. We'll see how it goes. And then I have the Rebecca Ross books. I have the Letters of Enchantment duology and the prequel that just got released like a couple of months ago, Wild Reverence. It was really, really good. And I think Rebecca Ross is an amazing writer if you're looking for something more like flowery, whimsical, lyrical. Rebecca Ross. Then I have my Cassandra Clare shelf. So I have the Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron, Chain of Thorn series. I do have the Dark Artifices series. I do have her newest kind of like adult fantasy or epic fantasy series that starts with Swordcatcher and continues with the Ragpicker King. When I tell you, if you read the Ragpicker King, you will immediately want to start the third book. That's unfortunately not published yet. So I will be very happy when that will be published, hopefully in 2026, but I'm not exactly sure if that was announced or not. And then I do have the Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. Cassandra Clare, I, I just love her books so much, and it was definitely very interesting to read something that is not in this like Shadowhunters universe from her. Would highly recommend the Chronicles of Castlane books if you were a fan of Cassandra Clare when it comes to the Shadowhunters books. And then continuing with Cassandra Clare, here I have a standalone, and this is the Bane Chronicles. These are kind of like short stories that center Magnus Bane, as you would imagine. And then I have like a lot of fantasy standalones. So I do have, honestly, one of my favorites here, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chakshi, The Teller of Small Fortunes, and The Lost Story. I really liked these books when I read them. This is definitely more like literary fiction, mystery thriller kind of a thing. And The Teller of Small Fortunes is kind of like a cozy fantasy that's very heartwarming and sweet. And it tackles some topics that I didn't see in a lot of books when it comes to cozy fantasy. So these are these. A Forgery of Fate that I just read by Elizabeth Lim. Really, really cool. It has dragons and the majority of the action happens underwater. Such a slay. Such a slay. A book that I just purchased yesterday. This is The Changeling Queen, and I am very, very excited to read this one, hopefully in the upcoming weeks. House of the Beast by Michelle Wong, Catabasis and Babel by R.F. Kuang, Lucian Dying by Kirsten White. And then I do have more like fantasy standalones. I have here The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, a book that I absolutely despised. The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrian Young. I have some books from S.T. Gibson, and I now realize that I do have another S.T. Gibson book that I don't know where it is. Well, Who knows, honestly. This is A Language of Dragons. This is YA, and it is part of a series. I'm very interested to see how it will continue, hopefully in the next year or years. The Honey Witch, I have the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea that I don't have a physical copy of, but this is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. Then I have Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid, Five Broken Blades by Mike Wordland. I do have to continue with this series because I think it is a trilogy and all of the books are out currently, so I do have to continue with this series, but thus far I only have the first book and I really, really liked it. It is very reminiscent of Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, but with shorter chapters and not as much pain, let's say. And then I have Alchemized by Stanley New that I just read the last month, I think, and I'm still kind of angry with this book and how much I didn't like it, to be honest. And then I have some more standalones and some Victoria Schwab's. So I do have Legends and Lattes, Half a Soul, 10,000 Tours of January by Alexi Harrow, and the Schwab's I do have Vicious and Vengeful. This is a darker shade of magic, but it is the Romanian version of it. And then I have the Stranger Dreamer duology by Laini Taylor, Spells for Forgetting, which I have not read yet by Adrian Young, and then the first book in the, I actually don't know what this series is called, but this is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. And then I do have another book by Victoria Schwab, The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. I have another Alexi Harrow here, Starling House. This one is really good for this season, like October, November. I really, really enjoyed it. Next up, another standalone, and this time from ML Wang. This is Blood Over Brighthaven. I loved this book. I still have to check out the Sword of Kaigan, I think it is called, by the same author, but this one was really good. The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland, another book that I absolutely adored, and then The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. Oh my God, now that I'm actually going through the books, I realize that I do have another Erin A. Craig duology somewhere. Oh, it's here. Okay, well, these two books here. So my kind of like wish of keeping the authors together did not work for the moment, but I will have to switch some books around eventually. This is just kind of like the first stage of it, let's say. Moving down to the second row, I have here actually a lot of Stephanie Garber's. And I also have this duology, The Dragon Wakes with Thunder and The Night Ends with Fire by KX Sung. As I said, Stephanie Garber here, the Caraval series, the spectacular Christmas special that I really didn't like. And then the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and yes, I do have 2 copies of the first book, but the first one I annotated, so I can't sell it. Stephanie Garber's newest release, this is Alchemy of Secrets, and then I have a book that I didn't read. It's called Anatomy. I hear it's kind of like a gothic love story, and I really want to check it out eventually in the upcoming months. Then I'm not exactly sure if this is like a duology or if this is an ongoing series, but this is from Veronica Roth. The first book is When Among Crows, and the second one is To Clutch a Razor. Really, really cool books. They are urban fantasy and they are inspired from some Polish folk tales. So, loved these ones. Next up, I do have the Fourth Wing series. I cannot wait for book 4. The way that Onyx Storm ended is honestly outrageous, and I do want to read book 4. Eventually when it will come out. I know Rebecca Yarros is currently kind of like plotting the last 2 books in the series, so I think it's going to be like a couple more years until we have book 4, but until then, we have the first 3 books at least to reread if you want to. And here I have, so this is the S.T. Gibson book that I didn't know where I put it. This is An Education in Malice by St. Gibson. This is so similar to Carmilla, and honestly, I would just read Carmilla. Like, I would not bother with this one, but you know, it's kind of like a retelling, reimagining of Carmilla. So if you read Carmilla and absolutely loved it, maybe check this one out, but it is very, very similar to Carmilla. Then I have the Emily Wilde series, or trilogy, I should say, by Heather Fawcett. Loved these books so much. A trilogy that I have not read yet. This one is from Catherine Arden, and it starts with The Bear and the Nightingale, and it continues with The Girl in the Tower and The Winter of the Witch. And then a book from Hafsa Faizal, A Tempest of Tea, that I didn't really like, but I'm pretty sure it is part of a series, so maybe I will continue it at some point. But for the moment, based on the first book out, I'm not interested thus far. Then I obviously have my Lee Bardugo shelf, so I have Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, The Familiar. I do have The Demon in the Wood, which is kind of like a graphic novel, and it is kind of like a prequel story about the Darkling. I do have the Alex Stern series. I am very excited for next year because we will get book number 3 from this series, and I honestly cannot wait for it. Then I have the King of Scars duology and the Grishaverse, or like the Grisha trilogy, the one that starts with Shadow and Bone. Then I have some Rachel Gillick books. I have her newest release here, The Night and the Moth. It has some really cool imagery and atmosphere, and this is part of a duology or a series, and I think we will get book 2 next year, but I'm not exactly sure if that was confirmed or not. Then I obviously have here the One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns duology. I have some Sulind Han books, The Daughter of the Moon Goddess and Heart of the Sun Warrior, and these are not in the correct order, so I should be changing them. This is kind of hard to do with one hand, but you know. Okay, then I have a novella collection, or like a short story collection from the World of the Celestial Kingdom, Tales from the Celestial Kingdom, also from Sulind Han. I have the Erin A. Craig books that I showed you earlier, and then I have a massive fantasy series by Samantha Shannon, and it is called The Priory of the Orange Tree, and these are the prequels for The Priory of the Orange Tree that I did not read yet. I'm actually now realizing that these images are connecting, which I did not notice previously, which is kind of cool. I'm wondering why the last one is not connecting with the other two, but I guess that's for me to find out when I actually read these two prequels. One of the most beautiful copies in my bookshelves, if I can say so myself, I have the T. Kingfisher kind of like section here. I obviously have Paladin's Grace, Strength, Hope, and Faith. These are really, really cool, kind of like cozy fantasy, romantasy books, but they are also unique. And honestly, everything that T. Kingfisher touches is so unique and cool and original, and I just love her books so much. All of them are kind of like retellings, reimaginings of certain folk tales or fairy tales, but they are all very modern and with a lot of twists and turns. So other than this series, I do have and read from T. Kingfisher Torn Hedge, What Moves the Dead, and What Feasts at Night. And I'm waiting for the third book in this series to be released in the paperback version so that it matches with the other two. The Sorceress Comes to Coal, Nettle and Bone, Sword Heart, and I believe we will get the continuation of Sword Heart next year as well. A lot of new releases for 2026 already, which I'm very excited for. And then T. Kingfisher's newest release, Hemlock and Silver, is here. Moving down, I do have my Sarah J. Maas shelf here, so Crescent City, Throne of Glass, and then I put here the Akotar series, and then on top of the Akotar series, I put the Cruel Prince series, or like the Folk of the Air series by Holly Black. Then I have How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories. I never ever can remember the title of this book. Then I have Holly Black's newest release, Thief of Night, which is the continuation of Book of Night. These two books are called the Charlatan Duology. And then I have the Romanian translations of the Spidery Chronicles. These are the books that I actually read in my childhood, and I love them so much still. Moving along, we have the Olivia Blake shelves. I just finished reading the Atlas Complex like a couple of weeks ago, I'm pretty sure. So I finished the Atlas series. I do have here Polish versions of One for My Enemy and Masters of Death. Now, you might be wondering, do you speak Polish? No, I cannot speak Polish, I cannot read Polish, but these were really cool. And look at these edges. Look at these edges. So I decided to buy them, and they were really cheap as well. Then I have the English version of One for My Enemy, which might be my favorite Olivia Blake book. Yeah, I know, it didn't change from last year. Then I have Gifted and Talented, Januaries, which is a short story anthology thing, Masters of Death, and the newest release from Olivia Blake, which is Girl Dinner. This is giving Bunny mixed with Scream Queens, and I loved it. Moving along to the next one, I have here A Dark and Drowning Tide, which was an absolute mess. An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. In This Hallowed Halls, an anthology collection that I actually did not like at all. This is centering the themes of kind of like dark academia, but none of them had enough substance, in my opinion. So I actually did not like this at all. Then I have Air by Sabata here, which is a spin-off kind of the Ember in the Ashes series that I have right here. This one I did not read yet, but I want to do it eventually in the future. Then I have here the Hunger Games series. I'm waiting for them to release Sunrise on the Reaping in like the paperback version that matches these editions, because only the hardcover is out, I believe. I already read it this year, but I do want to have a physical copy of it. And then I have The Unmentionable here, and honestly, I moved this series here so that you don't see it on camera as much, because, yeah, yikes. Anyway, next row is with fiction, and honestly, everything else that I had. This is where I kind of lost my patience, and I just like put these books here for the moment so that they are on the actual shelves, and I'll see what I will do with them eventually. But this is my collection of fiction, which most of the books I have already read. Obviously, you can see here The Secret History by Donut Hart, which I absolutely adored. Hot Wax here by ML Rio that I did not read yet. It is a very new release from this author, and I started it, but I was not really in the mood for it, so I decided to put it down. Oh my god, The Safekeep by Al van der Voeden. This was so good. And then Okay Days by Jenny Mustard. Loved this one so much. And honestly, I think I'm due a reread of Okay Days. Shout out Jenny Mustard. This book is immaculate and elite. I do have here Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, Evenings and Weekends, that I absolutely adored. The River Has Roots by Amar El-Motar, another book that I loved. And also some other books that I did not read. Cinema Love, I'm looking forward to read it eventually in the upcoming months. And then another Olivia Blake here that is not fantasy. It is called Alone with You in the Ether. Next up, more fiction. I also have some nonfiction books here, but I did not know where to put them. So they are here for the moment. If you know me and if you watched the channel previously, you know that I'm absolutely obsessed with Down the Drain by Julia Fox. I have here a signed edition of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I love this book. I loved this book. Then I have some special editions of the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. I also have the newest release, Not Quite Dead Yet. And then I also have some Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I do have to get eventually the Naturals series. And honestly, I think I'm due a reread of that series because I read it very, very soon after I got back into reading as an adult. And I absolutely loved it, with the exception of book number 4. So I would be interested to reread it and to see what I think about it now. Here, I do have some more kind of like miscellaneous books, and they're kind of like in a weird spot, so I can't really see them that well. So this is that shelf. Then the last row, and you can see my bed over there in the background, but these last two shelves don't have anything on them because I didn't have enough books to put on them, but it's nice that I have some more room down here. I loved Brian Washington's, where is it? Here. Brian Washington's Family Meal, really, really good. And then what else do I have here? Victorian Psycho by Victoria Fato or Virginia Fato. Really cool and really spooky and eerie. I do have a book that I'm currently actually reading, Misinterpretation by Ledia xhoga there. The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monique Hakim, shout out. And then Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass by Lana Del Rey, which I think I have to reread at some point. And then here I have some classics from the Bronte sisters, The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater, There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak, a book that I did not read yet, but I am looking forward to read it potentially next year, but we'll see. And then also The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vuong that I really, really loved. And this is everything. These are the bookshelves. Let me know, how do you usually organize your bookshelves? Like, do you organize them by color or by author or by genre? This angle is really weird, so I will conclude this video here. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, subscribe, do all of the things if you want to. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.